I love City Image.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the brand new year 2018. And as you can see, we got some cameras. Wow. You can see us now.
We do have can be seen.
It's not just voices.
Cameras.
My mom made it. I'm on. Y'all can see me now. That's what's up.
Look at me now.
Hey.
Getting paper.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Man, it's exciting. Just wanted to kind of talk through commitments, man. What kind of commitments have you guys made for 2018? Everybody's making just new goals. How are you guys setting yourselves up for this new year?
Be conformed to the image of Jesus
Hallelujah.
Christ.
Hallelujah. Bless you, Lord.
And however that plays itself
Jesus
out.
Juke of all
Bless
time.
Jesus
We bless
Juke,
you, Lord.
Man. You know what I'm saying? I don't really get really detailed in it. Just conform to the image of Jesus.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Bryant the Theological Giant for you.
Yeah, we didn't even introduce ourselves.
We don't do that no more. It's 2018.
Dang,
they know who we are.
that's
What's up,
what's
y'all?
up.
It's your boy, Rich the Husband. To my left, conforming to the image of Jesus day by day, Bryant the Theological Giant, ladies and gentlemen. Step your spiritual game up.
Step it on
I know
up,
you
man.
guy just trying to like get fit. You guys are trying to get debt free. He's trying to conform to the image of Jesus.
Yo, all of that falls under the umbrella of being conformed. You know what I'm saying?
Much love to specificity.
Yeah.
And to my right, yo, talk to the people, my brother.
Hey, it's Daniel, the creator.
Hey.
Now they get to see your beauty up close.
You know, I
Don't
try.
lust, y'all. Don't
Don't
be a
lust.
stumbling block, Danny.
I don't think that would be a problem for many people.
It's already a problem for me.
Hey.
Word. Confession.
Okay.
These are my confess.
Word. So, like, what kind of goals you guys got? What are you trying to do outside of conforming to the image of Jesus?
It's good. It's good. I have some business goals.
Business
Goals.
You know what I'm saying?
Unpack
Want to grow my creative agency right now.
Yeah.
So wanting to have some sustainability there and employ people by the end of the year.
That's great.
I have specific numbers. I just want to throw that.
Right now, Rich is the intern.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm interning for Danny. I'm trying to step my video game up, my whole like
Listen,
media
yeah.
game. Really, because
I'm trying to step my video games up too. I've been playing Metal Gear. So
That's a dope
video
game.
games. Step up my video games. I've been trying to play some Overwatch. I'm trying to play.
that's what's up.
But one of the things that's big for me is this new podcast. My wife and I are launching. You guys
yes.
stay tuned. You hear that? You'll
Very
hear that
soon.
real
Yo, I already heard a little snippet, man.
Word. Got the previews.
The heat is coming.
Where the husband and the wife, we're going to chop that up. So yeah, that's one of the things really big. Trying to just do some more relationship type content. That's really what I'm trying to do in 2018. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys out there. You have social media accounts. You've been on Twitter. You've been on Facebook. You've been hearing what our president is saying. And to be honest, man, it's a dark time for just the world. I feel man, just kind of hearing the statements. Now, my wife is Haitian. So, and I've been, I've always had a lot of Haitian friends, I'm in Brooklyn, saying like that. And
Yo, shouts out to my people, man. That's
Word.
not my people.
I have a Haitian card. They gave it to me.
Yeah.
Word.
A lot of our church is Haitian too.
This is true, man. And I feel like, honestly, for him to make comments like that,
Right.
he could have made that comment about Jamaica. He could have made that comment about Trinidad. Like,
Feels personal.
Yeah, I like a Caribbean attack, man. I'm taking offense like I'm Haitian right now. But I think the hardest piece for me is just like how impervious Donald Trump seems. Like just between the book Fire and Fury and just kind of hearing those accounts and just how like judo moves he does to just kind of avoid any type of criticism or any kind of blowback from the stuff that he does. Man, it's hurtful to see how an individual can make really hateful comments and like pay no price for it.
Yeah, he's a man without accountability.
Yeah.
Anything short of an impeachable offense, he's able to say and get away with. Honestly, man, I'm just keep it real. I'm trying not to hate Donald Trump. That's just me and my thing with the Lord. Like, can I just maintain love in my heart for someone who is unlovable, in my opinion, right now? Because every time I just hear this stuff, it just makes me so angry. It's just like, wow, man, like, how could he continue to say this? How could he just continue to be so dense and so like, I don't even care. I'm just going to destroy the dignity of an entire, and so he didn't just say Haiti. He said African countries. I think you mentioned a South
El
American
Salvador,
country.
yeah.
You know, and then he says, why don't we get people from Norway? In other words, like, I mean, I don't know how blatant white supremacy.
Right.
You can't get any more white supremacy than that. And I'm just at this point right now. It's just like, Lord, you've called me to love, and I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, man, it's really hard. It's a really hard time. But in some lighter news, we heard Oprah.
Yo, shouts out to Oprah.
So the idea of Oprah being a presidential candidate, what are y'all thoughts on that? Is this even a legitimate prospect?
Well, I mean, I think after having Donald Trump as the president, anything is possible.
And anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
No, but not only that, but I actually think if she did run, she might have a chance of winning just because of how Donald Trump has been so polarizing.
Yeah.
So I just think that's amazing that someone that we never would have thought of as a presidential candidate could actually say they will run for president and they might have a chance.
Yeah. I think she can beat Donald Trump because she kind of takes away his edge in terms of like, oh, I'm a businessman and I've done some so successful American success story. Where you're going to be staring across the stage from another billionaire.
Yeah.
You know, someone
She
who's
probably has. You think she has more money than him?
No, she doesn't have more money than him.
Okay.
But she is a billionaire. My only thing is that she's just not qualified to be president. You know,
I mean, I feel you.
You know, but I mean, in this day and age, you know, to beat someone like Donald Trump, that's just what you might need.
Right.
You might need someone who's also an outsider, someone who, because the big thing now is we don't trust Washington. We don't trust Washington, the politician.
Right.
That's why Donald Trump was as popular as he is. And so Oprah can be that. And in my opinion, she can't be as bad as Donald Trump.
Word.
I mean, she wouldn't be my first choice, but how can she be as bad as Donald Trump? I don't think she can. So,
yeah, I think in my playfulness, I really love it. Like, it's almost like just kind of like being a kid again and like celebrity death match. Like, yo, what if The Rock and Will Smith ran, like, I'm just starting to throw all kinds of names in there. But honestly, I don't want to entertain too much of this idea of a celebrity kind of president, just because I think we do need someone with political acumen, right? Some kind of ability to lead. And so I don't want to counter Trump with another like unqualified person, even though like they would have a better maybe moral standard. But we need someone who's solid that also has a great moral compass. And so it's still something to be debated. But I think the idea of Oprah being president is pretty ridiculous. Although it is ridiculous, I do kind of like playing around with the idea of it. And to be honest, somebody was like, yo, what if Oprah ran with Michelle Obama? I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Now that.
I'm not going to lie to you, man.
Or if Michelle ran and then Oprah was the vice president.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I talk a lot of trash about America, but if they elected a black woman president, like that would blow my mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect, because it's one thing you got a black man, that's one thing, but a black woman
as the first woman.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would shock me if they did a black woman as president. I'd be like, wow, okay, America. That's kind of a serious bounce back from Donald Trump.
Where the bounce back is real, the glow up.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I don't really know. I'm sure there are racist feminists, and I think we saw some of that in the election, just seeing how many women, or white women rather, were in support of Donald Trump despite kind of his reputation. But man, I'm all for having a black woman president. I would be in the booth, firing the booth.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you have to unite no matter what runs against Donald Trump.
Even if it's like an animal, like a horse.
We got a competent animal.
This dolphin is smart, y'all. Mad smart.
Competent.
It can tweet.
Yeah.
I think you got to.
I think I got to go with it. I'm gonna go echo the dolphin for president.
Yeah. I think you got to do it. Siri.
Siri for president. Maybe Google Assistant.
I do Google Assistant.
Yeah. Alexa for president.
Alexa for president.
That might be the new way.
That might
very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable. It may not answer the question that you want all the time,
but neither does a politician.
Donald Trump doesn't do it.
Right.
So
let's try it. Yeah. We're going digital for 2020.
We're going digital.
Right. No more people. We don't trust humans.
I think artificial intelligence has advanced enough to the point where it can run the country.
It can be president.
Right. AI for president, y'all. I'm with that.
I'm with it.
I'm so with that. Black Mirror episode 2020.
Let's do it.
Digital for president. But yeah, we're about to jump into this episode heavy. And when I say heavy, I mean heavy, because today we're talking about fitness, diet, and exercise, and the struggles that we've all had with that topic. I know a lot of you are trying to get fit for 2018. And this is a topic that's really dear to our hearts. All of us just have had weight struggles, just kind of dealing with being overweight and that kind of thing. So we really want to get into some personal stories and really get into the minds of your hosts here at City Image, and really just kind of pouring our heart out and how we've struggled with this piece with food and working out and things like that. So after the break, stay tuned. We are about to get it in. Boom.
City Image is the best.
What's going on, guys? This is City Image, and this is Daniel, the creator.
And it's your boy, Young Flatbush.
And Bryant, the theological giant. We just want to thank you so much for all the support that you've shown us thus far. But we just wanted to ask you guys to remember, if you haven't already, to like us, share the content if it's blessed your soul, subscribe, review us on iTunes. We're also on Google Play.
And if you want to keep up with us on social media, you can check us out on Facebook, City Image. We're also The City Image on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can hit us up at cityimagepodcast@gmail.com.
And again, thank you for the support.
Peace.
And we're back, y'all. And man, I just want to jump right into this. Danny, kick us off, man. Talk to us just about this idea of just your journey with weight loss and just struggling with food and just all that, man, because I know that there's a lot of our listeners out there who are trying to get fit, trying to get right, and just kind of been on this roller coaster up and down, rubber banding with just their image.
Rubber band man.
We're wild as the Taliban. Shout out to T.I. Thank you for listening. So Danny, man, just kind of talk to the people, man.
Yeah, so first of all, I hope none of us start crying when we're just telling our stories. But
I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.
I just want to let people know now.
I'm crying internally even now.
Right. Seriously. It's a pretty vulnerable place. So, man, my story. So, I think when it comes to things like fitness and weight loss, it's definitely something that I have struggled with my entire life.
Yeah.
As far back as I can remember. You know, I just kind of growing up and being made fun of for being bigger than
Yo, I'm already
Yo, listen, it's
I'm
real.
already being triggered. I'm already going down this path.
Yeah, so definitely there's a lot of life-forming moments as a kid growing up, bigger than everyone else. And I think looking back on it, it's like, yeah, I was bigger. I wasn't that much bigger than everyone else, but I was. And I think I can definitely say that I thought that I was a lot bigger than I actually was. You know, like I felt so much more like an outcast. I felt so much more separated from people based on how I was treated and based on, you know, so growing up, you know, that's kind of was my story. I let it really determine who I was and how I thought of myself and how I saw myself. And I feel like it actually was a barrier. It has been a barrier for a lot of progression in my life, even career, like just a lot of things that it's kind of gotten in the way of. And I think as, you know, over the last few years, actually, so just even going back, I mean, there's many times that, you know, I've done things like dieting and I've lost weight, you know, 30 pounds at a time, 40 pounds, 50 pounds. But it always seemed to just come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so over the last couple of years, I made a real concentrated effort to do something about it, because I think one thing I realized is that even if someone can have like a Big Mac or several and not gain any weight, I'm not built that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even if I have to operate in a deficit, it's something that I have to do in order to get myself on track.
That's right.
And I think, and so over the last couple of years, I've lost maybe 50 pounds.
That's what's up.
Thanks. And more to come. Holidays really throws you off. But, yeah, I mean, I think the main reason is really as I see that it has kind of held me back from a lot of things in my life. I also have seen how it has held me back from doing things that I feel like God has wanted me to do, and even ministry and all those things. Because honestly, it takes confidence to do a lot of things where you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, speak on it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And so when you don't have the confidence because you're so self-conscious of how you look, and I mean, we're gonna talk about how deep the rabbit hole goes as far as that. But,
oh gosh, are we?
Yeah, but honestly, like it is something that I want to kind of bring under the Lordship of Jesus, because I feel like it is something that will affect my longevity in ministry, but not that, but just ability. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things that I can't do. You know, I can't run a 50K.
Yeah.
For the Lord.
I can't run a 5K, 50K.
50K. I don't even know what a 50K is.
Word. Only 4K I got as a TV.
Word. I'm gonna start with that.
Y'all too much.
Nah, but yeah. So that's why I think it's important, and that's one of the reasons why I'm want to get that kind of taken care of. Yeah. Does that mean?
Yeah. So for me, the struggle was real from very young, like preteen. I remember going to the store. I don't know if y'all remember buying Husky. There was like a section, like they had regular kid pants, and then you had to get the Husky.
Oh my
pants.
gosh!
And I was like, okay, I'm just bigger. It was just like, man, thinking back on that, I was like, yo, I was getting the big boy pants as a kid, man. And then like just obviously the teasing and things like that. I was fortunate enough to be a tall kid, and so like for a while, like you can kind of like be big, but if you like got a lot of height, you know what I mean, you can kind of
spread
like
out.
Word. So I remember I moved to Virginia, and people were like, "Yo, man, like you would be great for football and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm not playing football, but I'm killing Madden though. I'm killing it." But it was just funny how like. If I was using my size for like athletics, then it was like okay to be big. But if I wasn't, it was kind of like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Man, but my relationship with food was crazy. I remember there was a kid in when I was real young, there was a like a partition or something. The way our kitchen was laid out was that you could be in the kitchen and nobody would see you from the other rooms, like this one wall. And I'm pretty sure I became obese behind that wall.
Dang.
I remember just going there, just making sandwiches. I used to kill those ramen noodles. I used to get like 6 for $1, and I would just murk them joints, yo.
Wow.
Like, just kill it. And
Tropical Fantasy was 50 cents.
Word, like
anything you get for
the
6 for
bummies,
Yo, for
CNC,
$1, you get a Tropical
whole
Fantasy
meal.
and 2 chips, 2 bags of chips.
I was good for like 2 hours. Then I
This is
need
stuff
more.
that makes me angry.
Yeah,
Because
man.
like the stuff that is not good for you is like, here's 5 cents.
You could eat
Gorge
for a
yourself.
day.
It's 5 cents. Kill yourself.
Son, then the buffets, yo. I used to smash the buffets.
the
And it was just like,
buffets.
I was like, Dad, I'm trying to get my money's worth. And my dad was real cheap, so he kind of went with it. But man, it was some crazy stuff. Like,
So
there would be
many triggers
times
right
we
now.
eat dinner, and I'd be like, damn, I'm full. Oh, let me throw this out. And then like 10 o'clock, I would go in the garbage. I would go in the trash can, find the food I threw away, and eat it.
Wow.
So it was on some, like, that's like a Lifetime movie.
That's deep.
That's TLC.
And then you break down in the corner crying.
Word.
The food alone.
Not even. I was just like, that's what's up. Like, it wasn't even that bad. It didn't touch none of that trash. So I was good.
There's an episode of Seinfeld about that.
Yo, and then I would wrap it up in a way because I was like, yo, what if I want to come back and eat this? I got to make sure it's wrapped up right so I can go back. It was just crazy, man. Then I had a huge just kind of revelation like around college time, and I actually ended up going my girlfriend, my wife now, but girlfriend then at the time, we both went vegan for a year. dropped mad weight, feeling mad good. Then we came back to New York. Yeah, I dropped 55 pounds in that time.
Shouts out to being vegan.
And it's not so much that it was veganism that really helped me, but it was more so just being food conscious. It was the first time where I would look at something and say no.
Yeah.
And so anything where you could put yourself in a position where you're, adding discipline is key.
Yeah.
But man, we came back to New York. I started eating them chopped cheeses again.
Oh my Lord.
So, things just kind of went downhill, man. But honestly, man, like as I now have a child, I have a wife, I'm 30 now, my body's starting to not be 20 anymore. And I'm just like, man, I have to get this under control, man, because like there's health complications on both my parents' sides and, just thinking about just being around, being mobile. I have a 4-year-old and she is mobile, and she runs and like, chasing her all around is tough. It's tough when you breathing like Darth Vader and she's just like, Daddy, let's come on.
She's fast too.
She's mad.
She's
lightning fast. And so, it's like, I think just going through it for so long, like I just get sick of it. I'm like, I'm tired of being sweaty.
Yeah.
Dang, I don't want to be sweaty no more. I want to go up the stairs.
Oh man.
And just be able to breathe. Like it's just man. So that's just a piece of it. I don't want to get too deep. I know we're gonna get deep as we go. I mean, I already said I ate out the garbage, but
that's deep. That's deep.
We already crossed that line.
Obesity, man, has been a gorilla on my back for my whole life.
Oh man, guys, man, how we gonna do it today?
Do it.
We're doing it.
We gonna do
Put
it
on
today.
the table, my brother.
Man, okay, so I've been overweight for as long as I can remember. Little kid, walking around my mom. And I think something I think my mom still kind of feels guilty about because I kind of was overfed as a kid. Not, I don't blame my mom for it, nothing like that. No spite, no whatever. But just always been that big kid. Slightly overweight. And like I said, grew up with that, obviously teased, obviously made fun of. I had a childhood name called Mr. Popo.
No.
Yes.
Pause everything right now. They did not
They did.
go Dragon Ball Z.
They did. So if you know anything about Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z, he is a dark-skinned
racist character.
Yeah, he's basically blackface.
Yeah.
He's blackface and he's overweight.
Yeah.
Hugely overweight. And so they called me Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z.
Dang.
And that was that was hurtful. That was hurtful times, man. Listen, growing up in New York public schools.
This is rough, boy.
Yo, you got
rough.
It's like boot camp.
Unless you like super fly, sexy, always dress well.
Word. Yeah. Emotionally scarring.
You will get destroyed. So that was always there. Always self-conscious. Never wanting to talk to girls, even have like male friends, man. Just I'm always afraid to be around people because I'm always thinking it's like 2 seconds before they gonna start joking on me. You know what I'm saying? So you just kind of stay away from that certain people.
Right.
And I wasn't a Christian back then, so I didn't have Christian friends. I didn't have people who would like love on me and affirm me.
Yeah.
So it was just like I kind of stayed friendless. Because I didn't feel cool. People would be quick to cut on me because you're looking for somebody to cut on. You're looking for somebody to make yourself feel better, right? So that's what little kids do. That's unfortunately what they did. And then until I got to about maybe 15 years old, and that's when I really started to try to lose weight. I really began, I'm about to go to the gym, about to make that happen. So I lost about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Between 15 and 16, kind of got skinny. I was going to the gym a little bit. Then eventually kind of put that on towards senior year of high school. Then got to college. This was another major movement to lose weight. So freshman year, I'm there. I see this. Wait a minute. This is sophomore. This is actually sophomore year. So I actually came my freshman year. Excuse me. I gained like 80 pounds. You said it was supposed to be freshman 15. It was like freshman 85. because I was dealing with a lot of stuff emotionally, dealing with a lot of anxiety attacks. So I gained a lot of weight. And then sophomore year, I saw this girl that I really was digging. So hit the gym hard. Yeah. Exercise hard. Lost 130 pounds.
What?
Wow.
Lost 130 pounds,
you dropped a human being, bro.
I did. And then slowly, but so by junior year, still doing a lot of anxiety and at the same time, a lot of immaturity. Like the remaining weight that I thought I should lose, I wasn't losing it fast enough, and that led to like frustration, that led to anger, and it led to me just kind of quitting. So I would work out like I was that dude telling other people how to work out.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I would work out like 2 hours a day and all that sort of stuff. And all that work, I wasn't seeing the final results of what I wanted, and so I got frustrated and quit. And slowly, by the time senior year, I had gained all the way back plus an additional 30 pounds. Man. So that's coming to the time of what? Then a couple years later, again, back this is like 2010, another girl I saw that I liked. I lost like about 50 pounds, then gained that back. Then a couple years again in seminary, another girl that I liked. Lost
seen a pattern.
Seen a pattern. It's a pattern, man.
Girls have power.
Girls have power, man. Listen, if you see me in the gym going crazy, it's probably
just tell them you like them.
No, that's real talk though. Yo, any young ladies out there want to?
Young theologian.
We gonna keep it going. Any, you know what I'm saying?
I'm leaving that in there.
You know what I'm saying? Women have the power to really make men like want to get their lives together. That's a real statement. So then I lost weight and then I gained it back, right? So the pattern of just me trying to impress other people, me not doing this for myself, and various immaturity in terms of frustration and lack of patience and, other things like not integrating a diet into working out, because sometimes you can work out really hard and not integrate a diet. A lot of things have eluded me to the point where I've not been able to put the pieces together in a way that has made it sustainable. So much like you, Rich, man, just turned 31 and I need to do something about this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because I don't want to die prematurely from this issue. And so it's something that I think about a lot, and it's something that is really like, it is a mental burden. It's not just a physical burden, it is a mental burden, and it is the last sort of I call it slavery. Slavery of my life. I've seen myself advance financially in different ways, and made progress in different areas, but this is an area where it's just been, as far as I'm concerned, it's a tremendous amount of slavery that's been hard for me to overcome. So that's been my kind of journey on it, thoughts on it.
Brian, brother, thank you so much, man, just for opening up. Thank you, everybody, myself, Danny. I just want to thank myself. Man, that was very hard. And I'm sure you guys, and myself included, probably haven't had an opportunity or taken the opportunity to share that publicly, but I know that we're not the only ones, right? There are a lot of people just kind of going through different struggles with that. Question I want to ask you guys is, people always say like, the struggle with food is really not a struggle with food, it's a struggle with something else. What would you kind of say your kind of deeper struggle that really the food is more so a symptom of? What are you kind of really craving when you're kind of overdoing it with food, or not doing the exercise, or not having that discipline? What is it really a sign of for you guys in your lives?
Wow.
I think, so I think when you think about food, right, you think about comfort a lot of times. And so it's usually put in place of something, right? So when we think, just take a step back, when we think about God made food and he made our ability to enjoy it. And so food in of itself is not evil, right? As a matter of fact, we can worship God by enjoying the things that he's made through eating food. But it's more about what are we actually worshiping? You know, it's more about idolatry. And I think for me growing up, I think there was a lot lacking in my life in terms of affirmation, and male presence.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, I think I definitely didn't know. I had no direction. Like nobody was really there leading me, guiding me, to showing me, you know, how to be a man. You know, showing me what is right and what is wrong. And so, I think I had to fill in a lot of that for myself. And because I was kind of already big and made fun of, I often would run to things like food to kind of, you know, make me feel better in a sense.
Yeah.
And so I think that's huge for me personally. That was definitely really big. Just that it was a placeholder. And then, you know, I've had a lot of issues, like, you know, we go through struggles in our lives, different struggles, right? Like people dying, we talked about, you know, whatever. That's like one thing that people just like go to feel comfort from those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, it's the easiest thing to get comfort in. Yeah. You know, because you could just go buy, as we talked about, it's cheap to buy, you know, a bummy soda and 2 bags of chips. Like, and you just sit back, you just, you know, throw on your favorite movie or whatever, Netflix TV show, and you know what I'm saying? And that's how it happens. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So for me, it's about excess. What I realized is just that it's not just food. When I even look at how I squandered financially, it is very much in the same way of just consumption. Yeah. I would just purchase things, even things I didn't really even need, but I was just compelled to almost like hoard and just kind of have. And so food was just another thing that added to that list of just excess. Right. And it was just like, man, like I want more and I want more. Yeah. And it was a way for me to feel like, man, I was accumulating. But the thing I was accumulating was fat and weight. But the other thing outside of that is also like food has had a very like drug-like effect on me. Absolutely. Like I really believe that refined carbohydrates are like a drug. And so like sweets, bread, especially for me, man, like it's like a hit. And it would almost be like, I remember one time I tried to go on the Atkins diet a long time ago where you pretty much didn't eat any carbs. And I felt like I was in withdrawal. Like I stopped smoking crack or something like that. And I would dream about cake and like bread. And it's just like, man, this has a drug-like effect on me. That's and funny. As I just did some more research on it, it does have a drug-like effect on me. When it hits us, like just that rush of sugar and fat just kind of going through your stream, and you get that huge blood sugar spike, and then the crash, and you just need more. And yeah, man, I as a child, I definitely would go through those ups and downs, just drinking all that terrible soda and like Chinese food. Man, I was smashing lo mein, egg rolls and all that stuff. But really, it was like I was on drugs. Yeah. And I think that and combined with this whole idea of just not being disciplined and this whole idea of accumulation was just bad and evil combined, and it just did a number on me for a long time. And so, I would say for me, man, it's just this fight for discipline, but also a fight against dependency. My body has like a dependency on bad food. And so just trying to break that has been difficult, and just not realizing like, man, like I almost need like food rehab. Yeah. Just a way to kind of like get myself away from this stuff. And then my environment is not helpful at all, because like being in, you know, kind of more low income neighborhoods, like that's all we have access to. Right. And so like, you know, ain't no Whole Foods over here. Yeah. You know, so, I would say for me, man, it's definitely dependency and excess. Those are definitely what's fueling the food issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, for me, I think it's along what Danny was saying, man, just a lot of comfort that you get from eating these types of foods, a lot of emotional sort of almost restoration, even though it's a false restoration. Right. Because it's not actually restoring anything, but it's kind of in the moment just kind of numbing the pain, and you can kind of just escape, man, and whatever beautiful thing you're tasting and consuming. and the fullness you get from just your stomach being filled up. All of that, man. And you want to go to sleep afterwards. It's like a whole package of comfort.
So great. Oh, the nap feels so good.
Yeah. And so I think, man, underneath all of that, yeah, man, just the need to emotionally release in a better way. A need to have a lot of the underlying depression or whatever it is I'm facing be dealt with in a different way. But also too, man, to be honest with you, man, food is not just something that I found myself going to when I'm sad. I've often found myself going to when I'm happy.
Yeah. It's a celebration.
It's just also a celebration. It's a friend, you know? Yeah. It's like when you're, you know what I'm saying? There's this saying that goes like, you know, athletes are talking and it's like, oh man, we lost. Let's just go get some ice cream, make ourselves feel better. It's like, oh man, we won. Let's just go celebrate with some ice cream.
Right.
So it's like whether you lose or you win, it's like this thing where you just go and get ice cream, you know? So I've found that it also just caps off a great day.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Salute.
Like I've been having a great day.
Yeah.
So now let's just cap it off with some like grease.
Throw a Cinnabon on top of my day.
Cinnabon on top of that, just to really end it well.
Yeah.
And so it just becomes that place, man. Again, and you mix that with laziness and not exercising, not doing any of that, and next thing you know, you've got weight that you've put back on. And so yeah, man. But I think it's idolatry. It's looking to something else for your ultimately your self-worth, your comfort, because in those moments I don't turn to the Lord in worship.
Yeah.
You know, and I found that the times that I've been most addicted to food are the times when I haven't been turning to the Lord in worship. Yeah. It's those times, man, where it's just like, this is clearly where I am going now for my sustenance.
That's right.
I'm going to this for sustenance. I'm not turning to the Lord's Spirit and having this, you know, the Lord strengthen me and, you know, emotionally kind of revive me or whatever the case may be. It's going to be this food that's just going to provide this temporary high. So.
Yeah, I do think it's a idolatry issue, kind of like what I said before. And it's a worship issue, you know. And I think other people, so I think, you know, we worship every day. Right. The only thing is, what are we worshiping?
Right.
So people deal with issues in their lives, and they end up, you know, going toward other things, right? Like money and you know, excess. Excess could look very differently for different people.
True.
What could be excess? Women, right?
Yeah.
And so it could be sex and pornography, and you know what I'm saying? So there are all these different ways that it manifests itself for different people.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just one of the ways, right? Drugs is another one, but this is one of the ways in which it's visible,
Absolutely.
you know, over time. And so, I mean, and again, this is not for everybody, right? Like some people are maybe overweight because they legit have medical issues.
Sure.
You know, like, you know, and so, but this is just one of the ways in which it could be visible. The fact that we don't have as much control, I think, as we would like, you know.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, maybe your issue is control, and you can control how much food you put in your mouth. And so, you know what I mean? That's one way in which you can say, oh, I'm having control over this but it ends up being negative, right? So.
Yeah, just kind of taking what you guys have said, you know, I don't think that within Christian context, we really have truly identified this beast that is obesity as an idolatry issue.
That's facts.
Because we don't look at it the same way we look at pornography or we look at gambling and things like that. As a matter of fact, it's even pushed on us at church. I remember after Sundays, you know, at, you know, more traditional churches, like that's the time to eat. All the church mothers come out, and it's like a competition of who can make, you know, better food. And
absolutely,
you know, we just sit and just kind of engorge ourselves on the meals after that. And you know, pastors and ministers of large sizes, and nothing is said to them, and not saying it should be said in like a condescending way, but what I'm saying is we don't recognize it as an idolatry issue in the church. And even in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 8, it says that like your physical fitness is of some benefit. Obviously your spiritual fitness is paramount, right? It's more important. But even that verse being in there, I think whenever I would read it, it's just like, yeah, but my spiritual life is way more important. So like, don't worry about my man breasts. Worry more about like how I'm doing spiritually. We're going there, y'all. Yeah. So it was just like, yo, like it's in there because it has some benefit. Like we have to consider this. And so like, as a minister, my physical fitness is so important because it's what allows me to have sustainability, and it allows me to thrive as a minister, just kind of going forward. So kind of what I want to ask you guys is just like,
can I just jump on that real quick?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Can you jump on that?
I think bad theology, I've often used that as an excuse.
Yeah.
To your point. Like, oh, okay, I'm about to get a new resurrection body. Anyway.
That is true.
So I'm about to get this new body. Paul says this body's like a tent.
Word.
And it's wasting away.
Word.
So
let it waste.
Let me help it.
Let me help this joint waste.
Word.
And it's like, come on, man. Don't twist the text for your own idolatry. Just because you're getting a resurrected body doesn't mean you are off the hook taking care of this one.
Yeah.
Because God calls this one his temple.
That's right.
That the Holy Spirit is dwelling in this one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, little things like that the heart does to try to justify itself. Definitely something you got to watch out for.
Absolutely, man. And so like, this is really just an exposure, because I just feel like as a whole, we're just not raising this issue of idolatry, and it's killing people. People are dying,
right?
And people are having their lives just in shambles because they're not seeing this as a spiritual issue,
right?
This idea that food has, the god of the belly, right?
Right.
We're not really worshiping the true God in those moments. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So, I did have a question. Would you, first of all, address someone who maybe has that issue? How would you do it? Can you imagine someone coming up to you and be like, yo, you fat? Like,
you fat, son. Stop sinning. You got an idol, bro. You got an idol of the belly, bro.
Definitely can't do it that way.
Yeah.
Word. I'll say this. There's usually a admittance at some point, somebody who's overweight or obese or whatever, who will speak about it, right? This is certainly not the first. This is the first time I've gone this in depth. Yeah. But I've definitely in like, hey, small group settings, hey, what's one thing we could be praying? Hey, man, pray for my fitness. Pray, But if people would jump at that opportunity to be a part of it with me, to support me in that, that's where the win is. Like, help, because we just talked about the roller coaster. Brian, you went 130, 50, all these numbers. And it's like, if somebody would have got with you at your best, right? Just like, and kept that train going, but we yo-yo, right? And so we really need community to prevent us from, losing that momentum. So if there's someone in your community that is struggling and they're overweight and things like that, and they're making a commitment to make a change, man, support them, go with them. That would be my best advice, because they're giving you that open invitation to be a part of it. That's when you can go in, and that's when you can really support them and help them, because the issue isn't so much getting the train started. Everybody can start, but it's just about the follow through. So my advice to them would just be to take the open opportunities when people kind of invite people to be a part of that process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I think obviously you should know the person, right? Like there should be some level of relationship there, because this is a very sensitive issue. It's a very embarrassing issue, and people don't like to be called out on it unless it has to be done in a way that's gentle and you have a real relationship with that person. But I think if you do have a real relationship with that person and you feel like you can speak to that person in some sort of honesty, then I would encourage you to do that. I wouldn't, if you see that person gaining weight, because that could be a cry for help, some sort of emotional something happening. And I think lovingly it's worth pointing a person aside. Like, man, I just noticed that you've been gaining weight, man. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing crazy. Not trying to like insult you. People could tell if you're trying to like insult them versus genuine concern. And I think once you have that relationship with that person to where you can approach lovingly, I would encourage you to actually do that, because people need to be held accountable. Because sometimes we don't actually know that we are gaining weight. Like, you might feel it a little bit, but you step in front of the mirror, you can deceive yourself. And sometimes people can really point out, like, man, you're really getting up there. What's going on? You know, and it can be enough to help kind of reverse that and begin to walk in a different way, especially if you can come alongside that person and say, hey, let's start going to the gym together, that sort of thing. I mean, I think all that stuff can be really helpful.
So has anyone approached you in a negative way? Do you guys have any stories of that?
Oh, my mom does it all the time.
Okay.
If you're Caribbean, then you have horror stories for days.
So, you know, I'm, again, not going to throw my mom under the bus. I love you, Mom. But there's times where I just like, I know the conversation is going to, when are you going to deal with this? Wait. I mean, we'll be talking about something totally different. How's work? Boom, good. Work's good. You know, how's your church? Like, good. All right, when are you going to do this? What about this weight, though? When is this weight going to get dealt with? And it's frustrating, and sometimes I avoid my mom because of that, because, like, I know a conversation's going there.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm thinking about this all the time. I don't need to be reminded of it. So that'd be my number one negative way, but I actually still prefer that than no one tell me anything. Because you do need to be reminded on some level, like, this is something to deal with. And I know it's coming ultimately from a loving place with her. She just, as a mom, she feels like she can just come at me however she wants to. But yeah, I still would prefer that than to have people around me that see it and not want to talk to me about it or hold me accountable in any way.
As a child, going into like early teenage years, anytime I would be around my uncles, like my mom's brothers, anytime I'm around, like, and they didn't live in this country, so they would come off the airport or I'd pick them up and they just come to the crib. Every time they would pinch my nipples. And I mean hard.
We are going deep.
And they would like joke, and it was just like, yo, it was like the most embarrassing, like psychologically breaking moments. Like, to the point where I would cry if I knew they were coming. You know, like they would just come and just like ring.
That is real.
God.
That is real.
This is so deep.
Just make like comments about me being fat and just like it. And the crazy thing is, like, they think they're being helpful. Yeah. They think like, man, all I got is if
I just make fun of you.
If I just emasculate and just like damage him psychologically, this is gonna get him to lose weight. Like, dang. Oh man.
Wow.
God. Yeah. So.
Lord help us.
There's definitely, and maybe even not, and of course not. There are examples that are just not as extreme. Like, I remember having gym teachers who would just be like, "Yeah, man, you know, like, yo, if you wanna get better at basketball, man, you gotta stop being so damn fat." It's like, okay, thanks. What? And it was, and it's just like, oh God, is it like the examples hurt me to just even think about. Because I've actually like repressed all these memories.
Yeah, that's real.
And I think people, you know, I think what it is, like, when you're big, there's an assumption that you could take it. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you're not just big physically, you're also big emotionally, and you're big psychologically. Wow, big. And so I can actually berate you because you are tough, right? You are big. Yeah. And like, even to the point of like, when I'm in the street and people yell, "Yo, big man," I don't turn around. I refuse to turn around.
Yo, can we just say right now, don't say "Yo, big man" to anybody you see that's big.
And then, like, I'll be the only person that could possibly. It's me and an old lady. And like, yo, big man. I don't turn around. So I'm like, yo, I refuse to be identified by that.
Mad.
There you go.
I just refuse.
I don't know why people think big man is like a compliment / like.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate every piece of it. And so, and I'm sure the people saying it don't think anything of it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of innocent to them. So I'm not like getting at them like that they're on purpose trying to destroy me, but it destroys me. And so,
yeah. I mean, I've heard, yeah. I mean, I have some experiences. I mean, similar to both you guys, but I've definitely heard before, like, oh, you would be really, really good looking if you were skinny.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. Now that's damaging. Or like, yeah, you know. Or like, so, and sometimes I wouldn't even ask, like, hey, what do you think about how I look?
I didn't even ask for this.
I didn't even ask for this, right? But it'd be like something like, oh, I would date you if you were skinny.
Oh my goodness. Yo, where she live?
Yo, what's up? So you know, stuff like that is damaging. But I mean,
I'm triggered all over the place by this conversation.
Yeah. No, but honestly, like I think, man, the one thing I would say for anyone struggling with this issue or any other issue that really affects your identity, you know, that you really take to heart, is that really know who your identity is in Christ. Like that is the key to getting through this kind of thing, but also other things that really steal from you. Is that you're like, God doesn't see you as a fat person. God sees you as his son, his child, and that above all has the most value. And from that place of acceptance, right, we have strength and power to be able to do what we need to do to make changes in our lives. And and so, you know, it does take a change. You know what I mean? There is life-altering thing. There are life-altering things that need to happen for people to get through something like this, or something like, you know, pornography or whatever. Like you need to change something about the way you live in your life, in order for there to be a change.
So fellas, we have lots of listeners. There are some who might even be struggling in this area. Just kind of take our final thoughts, man. If there is someone out there struggling with their weight, struggling the way we've struggled, just kind of coming up and kind of being overweight for a long time, and all what comes with that, man. If you could just take a couple minutes just to speak directly to them, what would you say?
Man, I'm just reminded of the text that says, the same spirit that dwelled in Jesus Christ and raised Jesus Christ from the dead dwells in us. And I go back to that passage because, man, like, I think Paul was saying that, man, that same power that raised Jesus from the dead is in us. And that's power through the Holy Spirit. And for me, I need to have that type of power. I feel like if I'm going to ever put the nail in the coffin when it comes to obesity. I want to just extend hope, man, to people who feel hopeless, because I know for me, when it comes to this issue, hopelessness is something that creeps in and affects my psyche. And, man, I believe that God is a deliverer.
Yeah.
I believe that God specializes in delivering his people. I feel like God specializes in breaking strongholds. And this is very much a stronghold for people who struggle with it. And I would say, man, fight every single day, man. But fight to be at the foot of the cross. That to me is like, once you win that battle, then the Spirit of God will empower you to destroy what needs to be destroyed in your life to attain that, to walk in that freedom, man. So for me, man, that's my fight. So kind of like when we talked about me being conformed to the image of Christ, y'all laughed, and it's funny, I get it. No shade. But that is the fight.
Yeah.
That is the fight.
Yeah.
The fight is to do that, because at the core of defeating everything that is not of God is to war within yourself, man, to follow Jesus and then watch him empower you to fight what is evil and not of him in your life. So for me, that's the battle. And I'm trusting the Lord with this. I bring it to him in prayer.
Yeah.
And I'm trusting that he will help me slay this. And then I would just be able to go back and help others and tell people and testify of the way in which I was able to defeat this.
Yeah.
So.
For me, you know, in the Lord's Prayer, there's a part where it says, you know, give us this day our daily bread. And I get two things from that. One is daily bread. And it really speaks practically to like diet. Like, man, give me just enough for today. Man, what is the right amount of food to consume today, right?
Yeah.
But even on top of that, this idea of give us today our daily bread, to take it one day at a time, man. The struggle with weight loss, the struggle with body image, the struggle with just addiction to food is a day-to-day activity. And I just remember just getting bogged down with trying to win the fight, or like, yo, I'm trying to drop 40 pounds. Yo, drop 1 pound. Because in this game, you need wins. And
so good.
I really just want to encourage you to have micro goals so that you can start to get this boulder rolling of just having successes. And the successes will only come recognizing that this food issue is really symptomatic of your idolatry and the lack of having Christ on the throne, rather having yourself on the throne, or satisfaction on the throne, or even food itself on the throne. But it's a day-to-day activity. Monday, man, I just want to get to the gym on Monday. That's it. If I don't go on Tuesday, that's okay. If I don't go on Wednesday, that's fine. But Monday, I'm going to go.
It's good.
I'm going to eat just these 3 meals today, Monday. If I eat more than that on Tuesday, that's okay. On Wednesday, it's okay. Because you need to have experience these victories. And it's just important because, and the other thing I would encourage you to do is to journal those victories, because we so often forget where God has brought us from. And so, man, when that Monday is done, you'll write it down. Yo, God help me. Like, man, I overeat, but Monday I didn't do it. Monday I experienced victory. And I can just reflect on that. Yo, if I did it for one day, I could do it again. I could do it for the second day. I could do it for the third day. And the last piece of advice I would give is, yo, invite the people that you trust. Man, the community members that you trust, family that you trust, friends that you trust to be in there with you, and give them the keys to the car. Like, yo, you can ask me at any time. Yo, there's been times where I told my wife, yo, I have to send you video of me at the gym every single day.
Wow, that's
and
good stuff.
That level of accountability is the only thing that drove me to go, because I'm like, yo, she gonna ask me about this video. And sometimes, man, we have to start inviting the family, the body of Christ, into the struggle with us, because the win isn't gonna come alone. And so that would be my advice to you guys.
Yeah, I think for me, as much of what I said about just knowing your identity first is in Christ if you're a Christian. And that is the root of who you are, and you are completely accepted, completely known and loved. All your bad, you on your worst day, and you're completely known and loved by God.
Yeah.
And I think coming from that place, it gives you strength to fight against, I think, a lot of the root causes of things like overeating.
Yeah.
And just being confident. Be able to make the changes practically, do some things that are maybe uncomfortable, or, put yourself in a position to learn.
So important.
Yeah. And, I think, those are the two things main things that I would say. And I think if you, if maybe you have a friend who may be overweight, I think just to those people, I would say, like, a loving presence, is key.
Yeah.
Care for them as a person first, not just as like a overweight person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, care for them as a person, because a lot of times weight is not the first issues that people need dealt with, right? People are maturing every day and being molded into the image of Christ, and so they may have some other issues dealt with first. But if you care about the person, just be there for that too.
It's good stuff.
It's huge. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode.
Thank you for rocking with us on this.
This very vulnerable episode. Hopefully, just our testimonies, stories, and how we've dealt with this issue of just food and fitness and weight loss and weight gain and all that was beneficial to you. What are, the emails and stuff? Like if people wanted to hit us.
cityimagepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, just do it.
Just me do it?
Yeah, just do it. Just be like, hey, if you guys want to.
Yeah, man. If you guys want to hit us up, man, with any questions or feedback, you can hit us up at cityimagepodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook at City Image, Twitter, The City Image. We're also on Google Play.
Yes, we are on Google Play.
YouTube.
It's hard to find us on YouTube, but we're figuring that out too.
Working it out.
We're here.
We're on the Apple Podcast app. Check us out.
Yeah, please subscribe, like, share.
Yes.
Pass the content on, man, because we're dependent on people just word of mouth, man, like spreading this thing around. So
yeah, and if this episode in particular was a benefit to you and you think it might be a benefit to others, please feel free to share that with them.
Yeah.
So this is your boy Rich the husband.
Oh man, Bryant the theological giant.
Daniel the creator.
Peace, y'all.
Thank you.
Later.
I love City Image.